I'm Lisa Haisha. Welcome to the Legacy Series. Today I have Leon Logothetis.
That's correct.
Yes, thank you. And he's from London, and I met him through my husband, and I just always found him fascinating. We had a lovely dinner, and I learned a lot of things about you. And then I've been watching your journey over the past year, and he's got the same travel bug I have. So he's a writer, he's a speaker, he's a blogger, he's a traveler, everything that's close to my heart. So I want to just delve into what makes him tick, do the things he does, make these choices, because he came from the stockbroker world and he quit everything, his desk job, and said, I'm going on the road to promote kindness. And let's hear your story, Leon.
Well, you're right. I used to work in a family brokerage firm in London, and I found myself to be uninspired and depressed and with no real sense of purpose. And I realized that I was living someone else's life. And I only realized that after I watched the movie The Motorcycle Diaries, which is, have you seen the movie?
I have.
Okay, so you'll know it's about Che Guevara, who travels around South America relying on kindness. The romanticized version of Che Guevara. And Che Guevara's father wanted him to become a doctor. And Che said, no, I'm getting on this motorbike and I'm traveling around South America. And in that journey, he found himself. And after I watched that movie, I realized that sitting behind a desk and crunching numbers really wasn't my calling, and it was, someone else's calling. And
your family's calling for you?
I'd say so, exactly. My family's calling for me. And I just gave it all up and went and traveled around the world. And,
How did you manage to do that? If someone wants to give up their desk job or says, I can't stand this isn't me, or I'm not growing, how do they just take off and travel the world?
Sure. Well, look, I did have the benefit of having a few years in the brokerage world, so my pockets weren't empty. So from that perspective, I was lucky.
Okay.
But the truth is, if you have a calling, nothing's going to get in your way. Money won't get in your way.
That is so true. Thank you so much for saying that, because people always ask, how do you travel? I go, you know what? I traveled when I was 22 and I had $1,000 to live for 3 months, and I stayed in youth hostels for $7 a night because I don't care where I sleep. I just want to be in Italy, or I just want to be in France, and nothing could stop me.
Exactly.
And people always say money is an obstacle, but it's not. When you get clear with your soul's intention, miracles happen.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so many people think if they don't have money, they can't go, but it's not true.
Sure, if you have a calling, I think you can go over any barrier. And money obviously is a barrier to a lot of people, but psychological issues are barriers to people as well. And just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that everything's hunky-dory. So I may have had the money to be able to travel the world, but I had the psychological scars of my personal life that I had to find a way through.
And everyone thinks if you have money, you don't have problems, which I found to be the opposite. I'm a therapist to a lot of very wealthy people and celebrities that really are on my couch because I have all the money in the world, but I'm not happy. And they can't quit because they're caught up in the fame or the, recognition and being relevant. So what you did was just said, okay, I have this great job and my family's proud of me and I'm building the family legacy, but it's not my legacy. And you decided to shift, and it was worth shifting for you.
Absolutely.
But what happened? What was that moment where you said, you know what, I can't do this and I have the courage to move on? Because I'm sure that wasn't easy, and your family probably went, what is he doing?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think the moment was when the pain gets too much, you have to do something about it. And I couldn't sit behind that desk anymore, and I couldn't live someone else's life anymore. And I knew that there was so much more out there. And if I continued doing what I was doing, which is sitting behind a desk, or my slab of wood, as I like to call it, I wouldn't grow. And if I don't grow, then I don't have the capacity to help others to grow, What someone once told me that, we all have gifts. And if we don't give of those gifts, then we're really wasting our lives. And me sitting behind a desk was a waste. To someone else, it's not, because that's their calling. Me traveling around the world and connecting with people is giving of my gifts, and that's not a waste.
What are your gifts?
What are my gifts? You know, I think one of my major gifts is that I have a way of connecting with people. When you've suffered and when you've had pain, you can connect with people on a different level. And we all suffer pain, some more than others, but I just feel that my ability to connect with people enables me to that's my gift, connection.
To connect. Yeah. Okay. And how did you find that gift? How did you discover that that was your gift?
That's a very good question, because I never knew that was my gift. I did a trip where I walked from Times Square to the Hollywood sign with $5. So I was relying entirely on the kindness of strangers. And I realized whilst I was doing that journey that people were, A, very kind, but I was able to connect with them. And I forced myself to do that. I'd put myself in a situation where I was not going to get to Hollywood unless I could connect with people. And slowly, as I did that journey, I realized I had this capacity to connect. And I did a lot more journeys. And they were all really based on connecting with others. So I kind of realized it by fluke, really.
Can I talk to you a little bit about depression with wealthy people? I know you've suffered from some depression, and I think you found a way out through giving back and connection. How can you help others who are okay to realize that when you don't focus on yourself, when you focus on others and giving back, that is actually such a healing balm for your soul?
Do you know what I think is, in our society, we don't speak enough to each other, and we're not honest with each other. And, you know, there's a stigma about depression. There shouldn't be a stigma about depression. You know, we're all flawed human beings. One person may be depressed, another person may have a lot of anxiety. If we don't talk to each other, then those, let's say, ailments will continue. The capacity just to be open and to be honest and not to be judged, and to find people that you can spend your time with who don't judge you and who are there for you, so you can open up and share what you need to share. Because for many years I couldn't share what I needed to share, but as I traveled around the world, I found people that I could share. And then I came home and I got groups where I could share as well. And yeah, I think it's just a question of opening up and being honest with each other.
Yeah, I think it's finding community, because that was my, I think, initial draw to travel, because I think I was, suffering from who am I, what am I? I feel like I couldn't connect. I felt different from the people around me that I grew up with. My mentality was so different. And when I traveled, for some reason, I'd get off a plane and I would look for my soul family and say, hey, can I stay with you for a couple of days? I'll pay you. But I just wanted that experience to live with people. And for some reason I thought, I'll never see these people again, so I could tell them anything. And I would just, tell them everything, warts and all. And they always accepted me still. And, oh, okay. And I thought, wow, this is so beautiful. But why can't I do that at home? Because parents usually teach you, you have to be perfect. Don't ever tell anyone any flaws. Family secrets. Everything was supposed to be hidden away. So we bottle that up inside. And I think that was my initial draw, because I could connect. And if you're not connected to yourself, you cannot connect to others. So can you share with me how you connected to yourself? Did you do any spiritual work? Because in order for you to have connected with others the way you did on the road, you have to have that connection with you. Or are you still working on that?
Well, I mean, it's a work in progress. Mm-hmm. I think everything really is a work in progress. But I have, I meditate, and I really just try and seek out relationships. I try and seek out people who I can connect with, who in some way maybe I can give something back to, and create win-win situations whereby they win, I win, everyone wins. That's really what it's all about. It's not about me, it's not about them, it's about creating win-win situations so that everyone benefits from what we do.
I've been to your home. You have a beautiful home, and apparently it's always filled with people. Now, are these close friends of yours that you bond with and connect with, or are they Hollywood types that, oh, I want to be around a celebrity Leon? Because that's another contradiction sometimes in Hollywood. When you have money or you're famous or you're doing interesting things, you've got hundreds of friends, but you really don't connect to all of them. And once the money goes or fame, all those people disappear.
Sure. I mean, look,
how do you...
the way I deal with it is that I have a few close friends, and I have a lot of acquaintances. And, you know, the close friends are important to me. And if the acquaintances want to stay around, they can. If they don't, that's okay as well. So
okay, really, so you at least have a circle of your core community.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's important. Just recently I've started joining more communities of like-minded people and women, and I found, wow, the support you get from one another compared to, you know, as we know, when you're a writer or you're traveling a lot, it's hard to connect or keep in touch with a lot of people, and you always feel alone and everything's me. And but when you really start being part of something, somehow your career and your life just unfolds exponentially. And I found that process beautiful, but you have to get to a place where you could trust others and, you know, really open up and have what we have abroad here in our own home. And I really like what you said about friends, because yeah, I have my A list, I call it my B list, and then my extras. So it's like, and I like everyone, you know, but it's like these people are my core. They're my memory keepers. They're my therapists and counselors. Then the B list is people I really dig and enjoy that I'll go, oh, let's go to this event, let's go to that event. And the extras are people that I really like, colleagues, friends that I've met through various projects, this and that, but you don't have time to get together with everyone one-on-one. So I have parties and I bring all those people over that I don't get to see every day. And if some take off for a while, come back, it doesn't matter. It's just about enjoying a moment, an evening.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just as important and has just as much value.
I agree.
So I want to talk about your book.
Okay.
What did it take to write your book, and to get the discipline to write it and the inspiration to do it and then put it out there? And how did it touch lives, and how was that experience for you?
Well, the book hasn't come out yet.
You have one out though now, don't you?
Oh, you have another one.
Yes.
You want to talk about the old one?
Yeah, well, both, just writing in general.
Yeah. Okay. I think you touched on the most important point when it comes to writing, and that's discipline. Because it's very easy, as I'm sure you know, just to like be completely undisciplined and not do anything.
Yeah.
You have to force yourself, even if you are writing gibberish.
Yes.
That's my my strategy. Is I literally say to myself, look, I'm going to write for 2 hours, and I don't care what comes out. I'm just going to write and just let it out. That's so the first draft of my books, you look at them and you're like, does this man know how to speak English? But you know, then you go back and you edit, and it's really an editing process.
It is. But at least you have something on the page.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I used to want whatever came out on the page to be perfect, and then I never got past the first page. And then I remember someone said to me, well, just write it and let it be. And I did, and that was something that was very helpful. To me, the inspiration for the book obviously was the journey I took when I went around the world on this yellow motorbike. But the inspiration was really all the people that I met, all the adventures that I had, all the lives that I touched, and all the lives that touched me.
Did you keep a journal the whole time?
You know what, I didn't. It just kind of gets seared into my brain. I started the journal for the first 10 days, and then I was like, oh, I just can't do this. And I just remembered it all. And, you know, it's really about showing people that they can also live their dreams. Everyone can live their dreams. I don't think there's a single person that can't go out there and live their dreams. And that's what my books are about. My books are about you. If I can do this, some little kid from London who, you know, is now living in LA, if I can do this, you can do this. Everyone can do it. It's just a question of finding the courage to break free from whatever shackles you find yourself in. And it's really about also spreading the notion of believing in yourself. For many years I didn't believe in myself. And now I do. And that was because of a lot of people that I met who instilled that belief into me that was always there, but I wasn't aware of it. And if my books can in some way help people to believe in themselves, to go out and live their dreams, then the book's been worthwhile.
Absolutely. And it's already worthwhile just that you put it on paper for your own healing, and from that you could reach a lot more people. Even if you didn't sell one book, I always tell people, don't worry about the end result. Write it for you. What do you need to hear? And that's what other people want to hear. Don't overthink, well, is this interesting enough? Do people really care about this? No, they won't care about this. Let me write about this. Because it's really what you care about. Because we're all connected. We're all one. We're all thinking the same thing on one degree or another. And if it doesn't come from that place where it's healing you, it probably won't touch others in the way you expect it to. And that's where the real juice comes in. So I so agree with you about just getting anything on the page. I sometimes write, I have nothing to say. This is boring. Why am I even a writer? Da 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 da. And then it starts going into the story of something. And then you could always edit that out, but at least you're sitting down for those 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, whatever it is. And if it's meant to come out, it is. And then there's always great editors to go through it and take it to the next level.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I like good editors.
Yes, they're our best friends. Who's publishing this book?
Reader's Digest.
Reader's Digest. And when can we see it on the shelves?
It comes out at the end of December, December 30th.
Oh, that's exciting. And what is the title?
The Kindness Diaries.
The Kindness Diaries. And what can people expect from the Kindness Diaries? Like, give us a little excerpt of one story, your best story.
You know, what they can expect is I
love the title, by the way.
Sure. Yeah. You know, what they can expect is how one man, a flawed human being, decided one day to embark on this epic adventure, and the fuel for this epic adventure was the connections that he made with other people. And it's all about the highs and the lows, and how the people that he met changed his life, and how I happened to, and how I helped in some situations to change other people's lives. So it's really a story of hope. I would want it to be a story of hope.
Can you share one story?
Sure.
And there of someone you met that really helped shift you and help you believe in yourself more?
Sure. I met a homeless man called Tony, who obviously had nothing because he was sleeping on the streets.
What country?
Pittsburgh, America.
Okay.
And he offered for me to stay with him on the streets, and he offered to protect me, and I accepted. And he did protect me for the whole night. And the next morning, I realized that true wealth is not in our wallets, but it's in our hearts. Because this man had such a kind heart, and he gave of everything that he had to me. And so many of us in this materialistic world spend our time worrying about how much we have in our wallets, and we forget that the true measure of success is how much we have in our hearts.
Oh, that's beautiful. So from that experience alone, you're saying that started to shift you?
Oh, absolutely. It opened my heart. It cracked open my heart that little bit wider.
Yeah, when you travel, you experience so much of that because, I mean, I'm living in Spain right now for a year, and it's Spain. It's not a developing country, but I don't speak the language. It's Catalan, it's Barcelona. I don't have a car. They didn't have Netflix, didn't have Pandora. All my crutches, no television, 3 Spanish stations with a small TV that has a lot of the fuzz. I'm like, all my crutches, no car. If I want to go to the grocery store, how do you do it? And no help, I'm by myself. And a lot of things came up. And then when you start seeing people coming, oh, you need that? Oh, call me, I'll do this, I'll do that. You're like, where are you people coming from? So when you put yourself out there, in a way that you don't have to in the city you live in, magic happens. And that's when your heart starts to crack open, and that's when answers come, and that's when you could reevaluate your life of where you are, what you want, who you are as a person, and grow at such a faster rate, which is so exhilarating.
No, absolutely.
To me.
I always say that the travel is the school of life, and that you go out into the world and you can't but help come back a better person. Because, like you said earlier, if you stay stagnant in one place for too long, there are so many lessons out there that you're not learning. And when you go out into the world, you're forced to face yourself. You're forced to face different cultures. You're forced to face realities that you may not want to face. Poverty,
Yes.
all these kind of things. And you come back and you feel, I talk for myself, I feel a sense of gratitude. I remember one of the first times I ever travelled, I went to Ecuador. And when I came back, I walked into a supermarket and I saw like 40 different types of toothpaste. And I remembered back to Ecuador in this little shop that I went to. There was only one toothpaste, that was it. But here, where we live in the Western world, we have such abundance.
Yeah, our grocery stores, supermarkets, Whole Foods, Gelson's, they don't have all that. One little shop.
Something, yeah, it just brings you, levels you out and makes you realize how grateful it makes me realize how grateful I am to live in a place like this.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to talk to you about how you grew up and the influences that that lifestyle had on you.
I'd prefer not to go there.
You prefer not to go there, okay. So let's talk about, so you're getting this book out and now you have a show on the air. Talk about that.
Well, the book is, as you know, is the Kindness Diaries.
Yes.
And the show is also the Kindness Diaries. So it's basically the book, the TV version of the book, because I went with a crew when we did the journey around the world. And basically I had a vintage yellow motorbike and I travelled from Los Angeles, circumnavigated the whole world on kindness. Total kindness, no food, no gas, no nothing. And it was all about the power of human connection. I'd like to say that the bike was the first vehicle fueled by kindness.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Aren't you on another show now also?
Yeah, that was the Meredith Vieira show. Basically, they have it's the Meredith Vieira show. They have a blue pick-me-up truck that goes around the country giving back to communities who don't have a lot. So the first thing we did was we went to Philadelphia and we gave $5,000 to this dance school and lots of ballerina equipment or clothes, whatever you want to call it. So that's what that's about.
And how was that experience? Because that's a little different from what you did, and now it's connected to a show, and it's about just going and giving a gift. How do you pick the places that get this? And
well, look, I mean, you know, there's nothing really better than giving back, if you think about it.
It's true.
You know,
there's nothing like that.
It's like at Christmas time. What do you prefer, receiving a gift or looking at someone you love's face when they are opening your gift? Assuming, of course,
yes.
you bought them a gift. So it's, you know, giving is just, it's great. It makes you feel better. Again, it's that win-win. You give, they feel good, and you feel good. It's my big theory is win-win. I want to create win-win. It's not just about one person winning. It's about everyone winning. That's what it's all about.
What's the best advice you ever received?
The best advice I ever received? That's a good question. The best advice I ever received. Do you know, I think the best advice I ever received was from Winston Churchill. And he said very clearly in one of his many speeches, never ever give up. And I always remember that. Whatever I'm going through, I always remember good old Winston Churchill, who was being, you know, who was basically holding together the country of England by himself. And the Nazis were about to invade and basically take over all of Europe. And his power of personality enabled the British people to believe in themselves. And his slogan of never ever give up. And I always remember that, and I never give up, ever.
What advice would you give your 17-year-old self? Never give up.
That's a great question. No, that's a great question. What advice would I give to my 17-year-old self? Yeah, I guess the advice I'd give to my 17-year-old self is that there are good people out there, and just they'll come, you know. Just keep going, and they'll find you, or you'll find them. And I'd say that to anyone. There were good people out there. Yes, there were bad people out there as well, but there are, in my opinion, more good people than bad people. and they'll find you, or you'll find them.
That is definitely true. I'm glad you touched on that, because there are so many beautiful people out there in the world, and all we see is the heightened, loud voices of the negative, because that's what sells. I remember being in Iraq, and right when Clinton was bombing, and it was really bad, and Saddam Hussein, and we hate America, and I decided to go there because that's where my father's from, and I wanted to discover my roots, and I was like, "You're nuts." And I went there, and there was a big TV moment where they're all picketing, "We hate America, we hate America." All the camera crews were there. So, of course, I went there. "I'm American, do you hate me? Can I interview you?" Because I wanted to do a documentary there. And they're like, "Oh, Habibi, come eat at my restaurant." Here's my, "No, you don't pay. You're America. We love you." I'm like, "You just said you hate us." "We have to." And I said, "Tell me about that." Then someone said, "The walls have ears here. We can't talk about it." But basically, they're forced to do it. But they were such lovely people. Went to Israel, found the same thing. Jordan found the same thing. I lived in Cairo, and I'm walking every day. I went to school there for a month to learn Arabic. Had my computer in my bag, walking through the city, Tahrir Square. Everyone was nicer than the next guy, and you see it now, and it's like crazy. But those are just a handful of the bad guys. The good guys are everywhere, and people always ask me, "Now aren't you afraid to travel with the situation of the world?" No, I'm not, because I know what's really out there. I'm not afraid to go anywhere, because I know there's really at least 80% good, at least in my book, and 20% bad, maybe 5% bad and 15% on the fence. Shady characters like pickpockets or whoever. But overall, people are very good. And if you could look at your life like that and just think of the positive instead of the fear. And the fear is what really holds people back from so much greatness to living their legacy, living a life that they'll be proud of. So do you have any tips on how to overcome fear? Because I know you've come through so much in so many ways. Just quitting your job took a lot. So
yeah, I think one of the best ways to overcome fear is just to take risks.
But how do you make that step to take a risk? I mean, I know someone who won't get on a plane. She's 55, she's a psychologist, she's a fabulous woman, rich in so many ways, and she's like, "I've just never traveled because I'm petrified of planes, and I'm trying to get her to visit me in Spain." She's like, "You'd have to come with me and hold my hand, I'd have to take meds." Then she finally said, "I just can't." So what would you say to that person, or how?
Well, I'd tell her to start with baby steps. Let's assume she lives in Los Angeles.
She does, yeah.
I'd tell her to go on a 2-day trip in her own car to San Diego and spend time in San Diego and have some fun and see that it's really not so difficult, and that there's a lot of good out there. And
the main thing is planes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just the fact that she can't get on a plane.
Yes.
I mean, I guess there's two ways to answer that. One is that if she really can't get on a plane and she really doesn't want to fight through that fear, then she's not going to fight through that fear. There's nothing you can do to force her to fight through that fear. But if she is willing, there are things you can do where you can go and do these classes where you can fight your fear of flying. It's really what's in here. If she doesn't want to get on a plane, there's nothing that you can do to get on a plane. But if she has a bit of an opening, then that's when you jump in and you can start, helping her out from that point.
I think it's finding a purpose.
Exactly.
You really have a reason, a strong enough why
exactly.
you could overcome anything.
That is exactly the answer I was looking for, very eloquently put.
Yeah. So I want everyone to know that you can do it. You just have to find your why, and the how will be right behind it. And you can do whatever it is you want. And you don't need money, you don't need fame, you don't need anything but your authentic self and a mindset that expects miracles and an open mind. And life will unfold in a way that you've never seen before. And I think starting your day with prayer, and just, prayer not meaning necessarily even religious, just visioning your day, writing a vision for 3 months, 6 months, a year, when you're dead, what's on your gravestone, what are people saying, who do I want to be, then making those choices every day. Because when you make those simple choices, that's really your life. If you say I do to you, you know, if you I do, now you're married, that's a huge choice, and it's going to take your life in another direction. If you don't, if you stay single, that's a choice. If you travel, that's a choice. If you don't, it's a choice. If you stay at the desk job because you're scared, how are you going to feel when you're 85, 90, and you're going, why didn't I just travel? Because you're going to be so much wiser at that point. And you're going, that 30-year-old or whatever, I wish he woke up sooner. That's why I love hanging out with older people. I used to go to hospitals and talk to them because they had so many stories. And I'm like, what do you regret? What do you regret? I don't want to be one of those people that regret later in life. And all across the board, I always got jump. Just jump. Jump. Because even if you jump and it's a wrong decision and you get burned, you learn from the burn and you can move on to make another choice. Okay, that didn't work out. You can make another choice. But if you don't make a choice, you're frozen. Your life is frozen. Your heart gets frozen. Trust isn't there. You don't love yourself. You don't love others. You're jealous. All these ugly qualities start coming out because you haven't had the courage to break free. So I love seeing that in your projects because the work you're doing is so incredible and could touch so many people. You know, I had the privilege of seeing some of your the DVD sets that you gave us and just watching these adventures going, God, all these people were touched by you. So, I mean, your legacy already, if you passed today, would be so incredible, not just even in one city, all across the world saying, oh, here's this guy who came into our life. That's a memory. You created an event, a strong memory that's going to live with them. They're going to be telling these stories to their children, their grandchildren. This guy came and he had no money and he's traveling around here and he had to,
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I mean, I don't even know if you thought about that before doing it, but
not really.
Maybe you're just trying to rescue you, and in the meantime, you rescued hundreds, maybe thousands.
You know, I think you hit the nail on the head because I was even subconsciously trying to rescue myself. And slowly, I started to realize that by rescuing myself, I could also be of service to others. So that's a powerful realization, I think.
Well, I think you're a tremendous soul and blessing in the world. What do you want your legacy to be?
You know, just someone who did their best and made an effort to inspire other people to do their best, and that's pretty much it. You know, I mean, I just to touch people's lives in a positive way and to make them believe in themselves, because I had people in my life who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, and that gave me the courage to move forward. And all you really need is that one person to say, I believe in you. And I see you and I hear you. And here you go. Anything you want, you can have.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it was wonderful.